All right, so on my still life drawing, I started bringing in the background yesterday. While I was working on my background, I was using just a regular pencil. I laid it down so that I get a nice light shading. And I tried to shade in multiple different directions so I don't see pencil lines. If you are seeing pencil lines, then you really need to kind of go back and use your pencil in multiple different directions and then use your blending stump to blend in that area. So as you can see from that demonstration I did just now, what you're working with in that space is going to be trying to give yourself, in this case, just a simple gray background. And actually, I've got ahead of myself. This is actually a pretty light area. So that little area that I started working on, that was not an appropriate spot to do that demonstration. Right here, where in the background, there is a fairly dark line. It is somewhat fuzzy. It's not a perfect straight line. So I'm going to blend it a bit, and then I'm going to darken it a little bit more later on. And then I'm going to continue bringing in the details of the little flowers. Your objective with this project is to begin identifying the different values and be able to draw them. I am less concerned about fine details than I am with you learning to understand how to draw all of the different values in your picture plane. So around that little tuft of flowers, it is really a light spot on the flowers. They're getting a highlight from the light source. So I felt it really important to go in and begin doing the background so that I could start getting more of that information. I'm also still just working with the different shapes, identifying what it is I'm looking at, but not really working on the fine details. I just want the basic shapes on there and the values. If you are someone who ends up with this still life having a very highly detailed drawing, that is fantastic. That's never wrong. That's always right. But for many beginning students, it is very important for you to be able to start seeing values. Those values are what are going to make up your image and make it look realistic. Right now, you cannot tell what this is that I'm working with down here. You know in your mind that it's a flower because you see my picture. But in my drawing, it doesn't make any sense yet. And that's perfectly fine. So again, I'm just using the side of my pencil, and I am using that to just shade in those different shades and shapes that I see. Along the way, I am seeing little details that maybe I could have done a little bit differently. That's not a problem. Please feel free to work on your drawing while I'm demonstrating, but it is definitely helpful to watch me for a little bit. The last thing you want to do is put your head down and give up, like someone I see. What you're seeing now is I've just kind of worked my way into the bottom right corner, and now I am shading in what is in the foreground, a lot of different shadows. There's really no information in that area in particular, other than some gray areas. Sometimes it really makes you feel better to start bringing in all of that little information in the background. It makes it feel a little bit more complete, like you've made a lot more progress. So if that is going to help you, by all means do it. I can remember being in art school doing a class where I did nothing but still lifes. And oftentimes I simply started with just the basic shapes, and then I loved putting in my background. That really made my picture feel like it had progress, and it made me feel more accomplished, like I was getting somewhere. Right now I'm just setting the stage for getting ready to blend in this foreground area. And I'm just trying to show the areas where I see darker and lighter values, pressing harder in areas that need to be more clearly defined, and then areas that are lighter, just don't press as hard. The areas that I really want to appear darker, I am pressing harder, and sometimes I am standing up my pencil like a soldier and bringing in more details that way. This is one of my favorite parts, being able to use my blending stump and go in and start blending in those details that I'm trying to bring in. That is definitely something that I enjoy, and you will too. When you're working on yours, you like to see progress. Most artists like things to happen quickly. One of the nice things about doing a still life is you're really meant to take your time and enjoy the process. If you use something like charcoal, it makes the process go a lot faster. When you're using something like a pencil, it definitely goes a lot slower, which is why using a blending stump kind of makes it a little bit more exciting, because you see a lot more progress and you see it blending, and then it just seems to come together a little bit faster. Another trick to know about is that if you use a blending stump, it's easy for that blending stump to get really dirty, or if the fine point starts to become kind of flat, you can take a piece of sandpaper, which probably came in your pencil pack, and use that sandpaper to sharpen your blending stump. What it's doing is it's going to pull fibers, paper fibers off. And if you pull in the correct direction, and not, straight up and down, that really helps a lot.